Today's project is replacing the broken pull string on my mower, and the parts I'm going to need are a genuine pull string from Briggs and Stratton, got a pair of scissors, Phillips head screwdriver, 5/16 and 3/8 drivers. That's it, so let's get started. Now we have the 3/8 nuts here, one of them, two, and then a third one over here. And this is going to take off the gas tank assembly. The socket would work much easier because I can get a lot more torque. So I'm going to kind of improvise here and use a pair of pliers. So that loosens this up. There's one more over on the side down here below the actual gas tank that we have to get off. And then what we're going to do is we're not going to take it completely out. We're going to just loosen it so we can tilt this back without having to disconnect the fuel line. So it's right up in here. You can see it right there. We just want to loosen that up so we can tilt the fuel tank back. This guy's a 5/16. So we're gonna, there we go. Just slightly loosen it up. Not gonna take it all the way out. Now from there we can tilt this guy back just as far as we need to. So you see, so we don't have to disconnect this fuel line here. All right, next thing we're gonna do is over here, there's another nut here that's holding the oil reservoir on. And that's another 3/8. And carefully lift this guy. It's kind of got a little notch here that fixes it to the body. Oops. A little too far, not a big deal. Basically, you want to twist that out of the way. You're not going to hurt anything. You just want to make sure that if it does pop off like it just did to me, that you don't get anything down inside of your engine, because at the bottom here is where this connects. All I did was lose a little bit of residual oil that was sitting inside this reservoir. All right, so we have those off. Now we're going to continue. We got to take off, because these are riveted in here. As you can see here, these are rivets, and this is the part we want to get off. So we got to remove this shroud here. There are two bolts in the front, and then two down here on the top, kind of caked up. And I'll show you those. So let's look at the ones on the front. Pretty easy to get to, right here. This guy and this guy over here. And then the ones in the back that you want to take off, these guys are just right down in here. So you got this one here, and then you got the other guy right over here. So we just want to go ahead and take those guys off. Yeah, these guys are 3/8 here. So all in all, not too bad. You have 3 up here, 2 in the front, 2 back here, one that you loosen up to tilt the gas tank back, and then one that you take off to tilt your oil reservoir out of the way. So it's actually not that bad. It'd be nice if this just wasn't rivet on here, but I'm sure that's done for safety purposes. There we go. Got those guys off. Now we can finally get to the part that we're really interested in. And now you can pull this whole part completely away. Here's what we're interested in now. Kind of set this guy back down. While you're in here too, you can see I've got a lot of grass and whatnot in here. You can go ahead and clean out parts of your mower that you never get to while you're at it. And And we'll go ahead and continue with this now. Now what you're going to do, see I got lucky on mine. This little stop here, this little metal braid here, or brad, stopped it so it didn't totally uncoil. Get yourself a flathead screwdriver here. And what you want to do is you want to put this guy in here because you don't want this. Once I disconnect this, this is going to turn, and I don't want it to totally uncoil here. So here's the other end of it that sticks out. So just keep in mind, before you cut, go ahead and pull this guy all the way out. So I'm going to hold on to this guy right now, pull my screwdriver back out, have it handy, but what you want to do is you want to actually go ahead and pull until this guy won't come out anymore. Otherwise, there's no way you're going to get this guy unspooled from inside. It's under tension. So, all the way out. Then once you have it all the way out, then you want to go ahead and secure this so it doesn't move any further. Put this guy down. Careful you don't lose that. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut the guy right like that. There we go. Put that out of the way. And once you get to that point, now you can just pull this. Show it right here. Pull this guy from in here. Just comes right out. So now what we need to do is thread in our new pull string and get that all hooked up and then put this guy back together. All right, one challenge you might run into is that the handle has a very tight turn in it, and it's easier said than done sometimes to run the new pull cord through it. So what I do is I take pull out basically a piece of the smaller string from the old pull cord and attach it to the end of the new pull cord. So what I do is I put this into the smaller end and group it up in there pretty well and hold on to it. And while I'm holding on to it, I need to apply some suction to the other end to get this through. And the best way I find is to just put your mouth in there and suck in a little bit. So now what you end up with is this. And it's going to take a little bit of working, but as long as you have this tied pretty well and it won't slip off, and then you can, that at least gives you a way to try to help work it back up inside of here. So you just have to kind of keep working with it, try to get this to go around that tight turn in there, and then once you have that, you can continue with putting this onto the mower. I did have to pull, quite hard on it to get it through there, but once you do get it threaded up, now what we're going to do is we're going to tie a knot here, and then we can pull this back nice and taut so that the knot sits up nice and firm in here. All right, so I have a nice double knot here on the pull string, and I'm going to go ahead and pull that snugly in here so we can continue doing this. So you get that nice and secure inside, and we already have our new pull string threaded through the retaining loop. So our handle's going to sit here just like that. And we're going to connect this other side to the mower. All right, so get your cord here, make sure it's free and clear of everything. Go ahead and start it from the outside over here. I'm going to go ahead and put that in. And you can see it in the inside here, right here. And that needs to go into that hole, this inner hole. So let me line that up. There we go. So we've got that pulled through both, as you can see. And then we're just going to do a nice single knot on the end of this. And make sure it's, leave a little bit of a tail on it. That's good right there. Make sure it's nice and snug. Pull this back through. There we go. So now what we need to do is hold some tension on our new pull cord while we pull this out so that we can actually spool the cord back in. So we'll let that go. Just slowly let it spool back in. There we go. So now what we need to do is do the reassembly of this. So one important note here, I kind of made a mistake, but it's not the end of the world. You want to attach this pull cord with this pulled back and this unit sitting underneath of it. Now, because I didn't do that, it's not a big deal. I just need to come back here and be able to release my handle. So I'm going to undo this so I have enough room so I can pull this all back and then place it back underneath and install it. All right, one very important note before we put it all back together, you don't want to fasten this assembly down because it will keep this from pulling out. So you want to get this all set up through here before you fasten it down. So pull out what you need, connect it up at the top of the mower, and then you're going to close this. Otherwise, like I said, you're going to be taking it all apart again. So get plenty of pull rope out. And I'm just attaching it up at the top of the mower and back down where it needs to be. There we go. Now that it's pulled, now it's ready for reassembly. And it's just going to be the reverse of what we did to take it all apart. And like I said, while you're in here, if you want to clean up a little bit, you're free to do so. Probably not going to get in here too often, if you're lucky. All right. And that's it. You're good to go, ready for another day of mowing.